Welcome to a pretty darn good round of really okay golf. Today I'm playing Twin Creeks in Allen, Texas. It's one of my favorite tracks because it really suits my eye and sometimes I can post a really good score here. Golf is pretty much always fun, but even more so when you play well, and today is going to be a lot of fun. They have us starting on the back nine today, so this is the par 5 10th. When the wind is at your back, it can be gettable in two, even for me. And this drive has me off to a promising start up the right side of this generous fairway. With right around 200 yards to the green, I decided to go for it and hit a nice 3 hybrid on the perfect line. If you've watched my other videos, you know I don't hit the green very often with my longer clubs, but this one is a winner. Boy, that was pretty good. They gave me a great deal on my tee time today because the greens are in pretty rough shape thanks to an extra cold Texas winter. Extra cold for Texas at any rate. There are actually 5 temporary greens while the normal greens are repaired. If this green wasn't bad enough to qualify for repair, I can't imagine what the others look like. This eagle putt has no chance. Look at it bounce. It's like putting on the moon. All you can do is laugh and try again. And somehow this birdie putt gets sucked into the hole and I float back to my cart at 1 under. My playing partner even made a long putt for par. Aha! Good putt! Sometimes putting is pure luck. Feeling good, I step up to number 11 and am faced with the first temporary green of the day. It's actually playing closer to 300 yards, so I step up with my driver and let her rip. It's not my best, but thankfully it stays in play. On a normal green, this 64-degree wedge probably would have checked up a bit, but not on a hard fairway green. Instead it rolls well past the hole and I have a long comebacker for birdie. It was a bit tricky to figure out the speed here, so the putt from off the green ends up uncomfortably short. The par putt decides not to break until after the hole, and I settle for my infamous bounce back bogey, and we're back to even par. Still got a ways to go on those greens. Here at number 12 with a helping wind, I pull out my 8-iron. 152 yards might be a bit long for this club, but I'd rather be short than long. I actually hit this a bit low on the face, or it would have been pretty great, because it's right on line. As it stands, I'm just off the green about 21 feet to this front side pin. For the third time in 3 tries, my first putt comes up well short. These greens are tough to get a feel for, but my second putt once again gets sucked into the hole for a nice little par to get the momentum back. Number 13 wraps around to the right just a bit, and there's trouble all the way to the right, so with my tendency to slice a bit, I'm aiming well left. I just want to keep the ball where I can see it, so I make an aggressive swing at a conservative target. It worked! I have only 93 yards left, but it's into the breeze and with a downhill lie, so I club up to my 55-degree wedge and try to punch it up there. It bounces way harder than expected and rolls past the hole. At this point I realize this is another temporary green, which explains a lot. I actually put a really good stroke on this putt, but the bouncy turf slows it down just enough and it drops in front of the hole. But it's an easy par, and I'm just fine with that. Hole 14 is a hard dogleg right, directly over those trees. When the wind is right and my swing is feeling good, I'll take a direct line. But today I just want to keep it in front of me, which I accomplish with a really nice 3-wood. This is a very similar distance and lie as on hole 11, but this time it's into a real green, and the ball checks up really nicely. That was pretty good. This is far and away the best looking green of the round so far, and I take advantage for my second birdie of the day. All smiles. And for the record, I am very aware that I'm 1 under through 5, and that it'll probably jinx me that I've been thinking about that. So anyway, it's out there. With water to the right and the wind in my face, here at the par 5 15th, I play decidedly to the left and use all of the extra space over there. I see enough of the ball here to think I can get under this with my 3-wood, but obviously this shot is a bit above my skill level. I top it pretty hardcore, and it rolls 110 yards straight ahead. With another really tight lie, I club up and try to punch a 9-iron onto this elevated green. I overshoot a bit, and I'm scrambling to try to avoid the dreaded bounce-back bogey. Man, I wish we had smell-o-vision. It smells so good out here at Blonde. It's a touchy, slightly downhill chip, and I give it just a bit much, leaving me with a tough par putt. I hit this on my chosen line, but I chose poorly, and the bounce-back bogey strikes again. I'll break that cycle one day, just not today. This is a bit long for a 7-iron, but the wind is firm at my back and I do not want to miss long here. So I take an aggressive swing and send a really nice shot right toward the flag. Just off the green, I take my lob wedge and use my putting grip to control distance and reduce spin. A bit more to the left and it would have been a tap-in. Too bad. because while other holes acted like vacuums, this one appears to blow my ball away. At least someone made a putt.
Good putt. That's what I should have done.
Number 17 is by far the most intimidating on the course. It's kind of a dogleg right with a long forced carry over water and back into the wind no less. My play is to the right of that bunker, but I actually go to the left of it.
I don't know what the deal is, but I've been getting lies like this all day. There's grass over here, there's grass over here, and anthills, but I've been getting it in the dirt like all day. It's crazy.
I have to carry this about 135 to cover the water, then also keep it right to avoid the water to the left of the green. It's a tough shot that goes tolerably well, considering everything. There's a lot of green to work with here, but with water on the other side, I exercise caution. A bumpy green doesn't help much, and I have a longer putt than I envisioned for par, which just misses on the high side. I'm not terribly disappointed by bogey on this hole, but it does feel like a second missed opportunity in a row. On 18, I try to play position golf and get a short iron into the green. If I miss with my driver, I can end up in the trees. So I go with a 5-wood, as that's been a good club for me on this hole, but not when I hit it like that. I usually have a pitching wedge into the green here. This time, however, it's a 6-iron with a bit of a tailwind. It's actually pretty good, just banking off that bunker in front of the green. Public service announcement, the driving range is on the other side of those trees. I really like chipping with my 64 degree, but sometimes I really get a lot of spin with it, like right here, turning what looks like a straightforward up and down into a struggle for par. The 7-footer breaks hard, and after getting to 1 under after 5, I close the first 9 with 4 straight bogeys. Pretty streaky, but I still shot a 39, which for me is awesome and gives me a legit shot at breaking 80 today. I need at least 2 parts of my game to be working if I'm going to score well. First and foremost, I have to keep the ball in play off the tee. Then either my irons or short game need to show up. Today they're taking turns and giving me a shot at a good round. Let's see how things play out as I make the turn to what is technically the front 9. Hole number 1 is a shorter par 4, but especially with a temporary green at least 50 yards in front of the normal green. A clean strike would get this pretty close. As it is, I get a big fade that avoids the fairway bunker and puts me in decent position. From 40 yards out, I'm just trying to get it within about 10 feet or so. This one's a bit outside that.
Not great, but not terrible.
It's a good stroke for the birdie attempt, but it's just a touch offline, and the 3-foot comebacker finds the bottom of the cup for a nice par. Number 2 is a comfortable par 3 for me, and with the wind at my back, I hit a really nice 9-iron that's tracking just left of the flag. At first I think it's going long, but it's actually really good.
Man, that looked like it was going too high, too far. Instead, it's almost perfect.
This is a tricky side hill putt that needs the perfect speed. I hit it just a bit soft and it dives in front of the hole, and it's a simple 18-incher to clean up for par. Hole number 3 feels very similar to number 13, and just like at 13, I want to stay well left. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I hit that one pretty good.
The green is hiding right behind a little hill up there. I want to land it on top of that hill and let it roll down. Thinking about it now, that's a pretty bold play for me, but I actually pull it off quite nicely. This 15-footer feels makeable, but man, the green is bumpy, and it comes up just short. Once again, all you can do is laugh, and having a tap-in putt for par certainly makes it easier. I have the wind at my back at the par 5 fourth. It's gettable as long as I don't go right and into the trees, so I aim at those bunkers to the left and go even a bit further left, but it'll be just fine.
I really had to fight off some negativity right there where I was recognizing, hey, I've had this ball the whole time, and that usually spells disaster. But I overcame it. I didn't let it beat me, which I have done many times in the past.
It's a decent lie, and this 6-iron is tracking right in between those traps and should make the green. But apparently it lands on a rake because it suddenly shoots hard right. Luckily it stayed in the trap, even though this is a bit of a tricky bunker shot, which I do not execute very well. My second try, however, is a much easier lie, and I hit a good one that gets up there nice and close. It's a touch right to left, and I make a nice little stroke to wrap up an eventful par and my 4th one in a row. Hole 5 isn't very long, but it goes up a pretty steep hill, and that fairway bunker is right in the landing zone. On the previous hole, I was able to overcome the haven't lost a ball thought, but this time it won out as my drive hits the cart path and ends up just inside someone's yard. Now hitting my 3rd, I do the classic overcorrection and pull it way left, but it's just fine and actually a really good angle into the green. It's only 78 yards from here, but uphill and with an uphill lie. So I go with the 59 instead of the 64-degree wedge, and it's a good choice. Now, I don't make many putts from this distance, but this is a great time to roll one in for an unlikely bogey after an out-of-bounds tee shot.
It's a second ball birdie. That's not bad. Take that. Man, I'm glad it hit the flag because that was cooking.
Number 6 is normally a short par 3 onto a big green, but with a temporary green, it's only 80 yards, and the target area is really small. I simply try too hard here and hit it weakly to the right. This is actually a really tough green, which becomes pretty clear as my playing partner's putt trickles all the way down the hill. That gets my attention, and I make sure to get this little chip all the way up.
Okay, stop right there.
Afraid of what would happen if it went past the hole, I gladly leave this one short and tap in for a 4.
It's only 80 yards. You can bogey any hole.
Unless I crush my drive, the par 5 7th is always a 3-shot hole for me, and this drive is decidedly not crushed. From here I'm just looking to get into position for a short approach, but this is probably my worst iron shot of the day, and I still have what feels like a long way to go. This is always an intimidating approach for me, with water on the front left and a waist area on the right, both pinching the fairway. I hit this 6-iron a touch heavy, but it's straight and ends up on the green. It's a long putt though, with a lot of slope. It never quite gets high enough, and I'm left with a testy 5-footer for par.
Wow.
It's on line, but screeches to a halt just short. And it's a bummer of a bogey.
Alright, feel the old back starting to tighten up.
The stiffness must have got into my head a bit, and this swing just wasn't very confident or committed. Luckily the trees tossed it out of trouble and back into play. I'm 204 yards into the wind, and the fairway slopes toward the lake, so I'm just going to lay up with a 6-iron here. But I absolutely smoke it. It's in the running for the best looking shot of the day.
That went quite a bit further than I expected.
And so does this. Man, I launched that, and now I have some work to do if I'm going to break that bogey streak. The putt is looking good if it has enough speed, but it pulls up a couple feet short and I clean up for a bogey. So my second 9 has seen 4 straight pars, followed by 4 straight bogeys. So this final hole will be the tiebreaker. Number 9 has the final temporary green, so it's only playing about 280. I want to start it at the trees and fade it to the right, just like this. What a great drive to end on.
Wahoo, that is playing partner's second shot right there. That's in tight.
I've only got about 15 yards left, and my thoughts get stuck somewhere between flop and runner. That kind of indecision can spell trouble, and this chip isn't pretty, but I get away with it, and I have a shot at birdie. There's a lot of break in this little guy. I honestly don't hit it very cleanly, but it's just enough, and it trickles in for my 3rd birdie of the day. So the deadlock between pars and bogeys remains unresolved, and I am just fine with that. My scoring has been all over the place so far this year, from +5 to +25. So I'm pretty stoked to shoot a pair of 39s and break 80 today. It wasn't always pretty, but the keys were keeping my tee shots in play and somehow having 0 double bogeys, even with some poor shots and crazy greens. All in all, a great day of really okay golf. Please like and subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.